Would you ever date a woman?
Where the hell did this come from?
That's a weird question to ask randomly. My cousin's a lesbian.
No.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 13, Episode 11. And before we get into it, let me just say that I really enjoyed this episode. I thought that it was a great balance of funny, but also very heartwarming and very touching. Now, Annemarie, Miss 8.5, you can go. I think that Annemarie is a complete flop. She was not needed at all. She brings absolutely nothing. I'm always shocked every time I see her in the opening credits and she has a tagline. I'm like, wait, she's still on this show? But anyhow, y'all, we have a lot to talk about. Let's just jump right on into it because you guys already know that we don't have a minute to spare. So we open up the episode with Kyle at home, and she's waiting for all the ladies to arrive to her house because they're going to be spending a fun girls' day in Ojai for Annemarie's birthday. Kyle goes on to say that she's excited because every time Annemarie has been around the women, it's always been drama. So now we see Crystal arrive to Kyle's house first, and now we flip over to Garcel and Sutton on their way as well. So they're talking in the car. Garcel says that she hasn't been around the group since Taco Tuesday. Then she says, oh wait, I forgot. I actually did meet up with Dorit yesterday to hash out our issues. So Sutton's like, well, how did it go? Garcel said, look, we're going to move forward. We're going to move past it. That's all I have to say. And I say, yeah, Garcel, that's the only attitude that you can have when it comes to Dorit, because Dorit just doesn't want to get it. And also, the way you had to press Dorit for an apology, I mean, Dorit took a good 30 minutes just to finally say, you know what, Garcel, I'm sorry. So Sutton shares that she's excited about today and how she can't wait for the wine tasting. Now, Garcel is me because I was also confused as to why Kyle would set up a wine tasting when she stopped drinking. Garcel was like, Kyle no longer drinks, so what is she going to taste while we're all drinking wine? Sutton had me screaming. She said, well, there's water. It's delicious. When I tell you that Sutton had me screaming several times in this episode. Sutton is low-key a comedian because when she's funny, she is funny. So at this point, everybody's at Kyle's house, and before they leave, Sutton goes on to ask, where is Erica? So we find out that Erica has COVID, she won't be in attendance, and they give her a quick FaceTime call to see how she's doing. And she's like, yeah, I'm sick, thought it was allergies, but turns out it was COVID. Before I forget, my favorite color is pink, so I was living for Garcel and Kyle. They both had pink sweaters on. Well, I think Garcel had a pink cardigan on, and Kyle had on a pink sweater. But either way, they had the same shade of pink, and it's like a hot pink. It was gorgeous. And that pink Birkin that Kyle had, I said, Kyle, while you might wear me thin 9 times out of 10, one thing about it though, her fashion game has always been on point. And especially her Birkin collection, yes ma'am.
I love it. I love it.
I will always give credit where credit is due. So now they're on the Sprinter van on their way to Ojai. And they're drinking, popping some champagne, having fun. And you have Annemarie saying that she's excited to have a good time today and how she wants to get to know Sutton better because the last time they've been around each other, it's been rough. I said, but Annemarie, that's your fault. You had no right to question her about her health and her esophagus at her party. So the fact that Sutton snapped at you, again, you asked for it. I just hate how people on these shows want to play the villain and the victim at the same time. And that's just not how this works. And you look extremely thirsty, trying to stir up drama for no reason, just because you want some camera time. So now Sutton shares her amazing news about how she went out with this new guy, Steve, and they really hit it off. She's like, we both like karaoke, and guess what, y'all? He asked me out on a second date. So they're all like, oh my gosh, yes. yes, like congratulations, it's about time. And Sutton's like, you know, I really like him. I think that he really likes me. He's really cute. He texts me all the time. And I said, that's what we want to hear. Sutton, I am rooting for you, girl. I really am. And the way I fell to the floor when they were talking, and I think Sutton was just drinking her water out of her water bottle, and she starts burping. They were like, girl, are you okay? And when I tell you that seeing Sutton just be silly and playful, that's the Sutton that I want to see more of. Because I swear to y'all, I want to scream when she's so uptight. So it's so nice to see her let her hair down and just have fun. I'm like, yes, girl, this is the Sutton that we enjoy. So they arrive in Ojai and they immediately start shopping. We see Dorit go inside the olive oil shop. She's talking to the store owner in Italian, and anytime that Dorit can flex that she speaks 4 languages, she's going to do it. Now, the way Crystal had me screaming, she was just like, oh Lord, here goes Dorit. She's about to be talking this lady's ear off for the next 7 hours. So now we see Kyle, Annemarie, and Garcel shopping together. And when I tell you that me and Kyle do have a few things in common, the way I love to shop, she was buying the entire store. She was like, I want this hat. Give me 2 of those shirts. I like those sandals. I like that dress. That clutch is cute. That wallet is cute. That keychain. Give it to me. And then when Kyle said, I do have a bit of a problem. I love to shop. I shop every day. I shop at home. I shop in my bed. I'll do online shopping on my phone. And I said, girl, we're right here, because the way I have a package coming to my home damn near every day. And when I'm in a mall, like, don't play with me. I mean, I love shopping. That is definitely a vice. I love retail therapy. I can't get enough. It's not my fault that I have good taste and what I like is expensive. But yeah, me and Kyle, we are right there when it comes to shopping. The way she walked out that store with 8 bags, she had the store owner and the other employees helping her out with her bags to go back to the Sprinter van. I said, I know that's right.
Bling, bling, bling. Bitches is mad.
Tomorrow is not promised, okay? So buy it today. I will not allow inflation to steal my joy, all right? So now the ladies are done shopping, and now we see them at their wine tasting. And I loved how they had a non-alcoholic wine for Kyle. So Kyle makes a shocking admission that this is the way she wants to live. She wants to be away from people, and although she has lived in LA all her life, she's over it and she wants to get away from it all. So she goes on to add that she really enjoys being outdoors, going on hikes with her dogs, and how when Portia leaves the house and goes to college, she plans on moving to somewhere like this. Just hearing Kyle say that, Kyle is dropping nuggets in each confessional that she's tired of her marriage and she wants out. Because Kyle has always loved living in Beverly Hills. She was born in Bel Air. She's always been around this lifestyle of Hollywood, celebrity, excess, wealth. So to hear her say that she no longer feels connected to this lifestyle and she wants to be far away from it, it's very interesting. I know there's a big chunk of people who still feel like Kyle is faking and her and Mauricio are doing this for a storyline, but I really don't think so. I think that Kyle is fed up and she wants out. And then all the soul searching, she's trying to find herself and really find out what she wants after suppressing it for so long. I really do feel like we're seeing the real Kyle and that she does not want to continue to be in a marriage where she's not happy. And also, the way Mauricio loves the spotlight, he loves being out at red carpet events. He's always gone on business or at some dinner, schmoozing with people. There's no way that he would go for moving out in the country. He likes being in Beverly Hills. He likes being in the mix. So again, it's just showing us that Kyle and Mauricio are on 2 different roads. So they all sit down to eat lunch, and when I tell you that my mouth was watering, that first course looked delicious. And I love mushrooms too, so you already know that I was salivating. I'm salivating right now. I love the game that Kyle brought for them to play. I think it was called Girl Talk. So it's this cute, sexy card game, and I think the first card said something like, I dare somebody at the table to lick somebody else's toe. and Sutton was down. She got up and licked Kyle's toe. I said, oh, okay, Sutton. And I really enjoyed this because they were all having fun. There was no fighting. It was a good vibe. Even Garcel says, I like this because I can't deal with all the drama all the time. It's just nice to see everybody getting along and just putting the pettiness aside. And I feel like a certain franchise, i.e. Potomac, needs to take notes because this is how it's done. Every episode cannot be y'all fighting and dragging and shading each other. We want to see you guys have fun and connect and just be silly. Every episode does not need to be a bloodbath. It's nice to have a balance. And I feel like Beverly Hills gets that right, where they'll fight, they'll go for the jugular, but then in the next episode, we will see them have fun. So Sutton reads a card asking, what's the protocol about your husband communicating with other women on social media? So Sutton says, my opinion is that's inappropriate, that's unacceptable, and husbands should not be communicating with other women on social media. So Dorit says, absolutely not, that's a no-no. And then Kyle says, yeah, that's a no-no. And me and Mauricio have gotten into several fights about that. So they were all like, excuse me, come again? Again, the fact that Kyle used to be kind of tight-lipped about her and Mauricio's marriage, and now she's airing out these details. Y'all, I don't think that Kyle and Mauricio are playing. I think that Kyle is letting it all out because she's tired and she plans on divorcing him. So Kyle goes on to say that she hates that kind of stuff, following other women, liking their pictures, it's just a no. So Kyle goes on to say that women constantly DM Mauricio because they think that he's cute and sexy. They don't care that he's married. But yeah, Kyle was letting it slip out that Mauricio has probably done some things and crossed some boundaries and maybe he stepped out. And I say, yeah, the truth is coming out little by little because she's out the door. Now, the way Kyle gagged everybody, she goes on to ask, would you guys ever date a woman? They were like, where is this coming from? Sutton was like, I have a cousin who's a lesbian, but it's not for me, no thank you. So now you have Garcel saying that she's actually thought about it, and Kyle says that she would. I said, girl, we know that she would. Like, you're not telling us anything new, but okay. But Garcel was too funny. She said the Kyle that I know 3 years ago would be so shocked that we were all having threesomes. She had never done the girl thing. And now she's saying that she would date a woman? Like, very interesting. So now Kyle shares that when she was in Cabo recently, her and her girlfriends were talking about scissoring. So they're all like, what's scissoring? Like, what's that? Now, I was really shocked that Garcel was asking what scissoring was. You had said that you had a threesome, so you don't know what scissoring is? I mean, a lot of y'all told me on Twitter that just because you have a threesome doesn't mean that you scissor. So I was like, okay, like, well, who knew? So now Kyle and Dorit give a demonstration, and I was shocked that Dorit participated in it. But I guess since she's trying to get on Kyle's good side again, then she said, you know what, let me just do it. There are rumors about us anyway, so why not? So they're still playing the card game, and the card that Kyle picked up, I think it said somebody in the group has to stick their tongue in somebody else's mouth. So Sutton volunteers, and she sticks her tongue in Dorit's mouth. Sutton was having the best time. I mean, she was laughing. She thought that it was so funny. They were so shocked to see Sutton being so playful. I was just so shocked because the same woman who's out here licking toes and sticking her tongue in Dorit's mouth and watching Dorit and Kyle fake scissor. But the fact that you were so turned off by Magic Mike in Vegas... So now Annemarie's birthday cake comes out, she blows out the candles, and they all toast to her birthday and a fun day. So now we end the scene with Kyle letting them know that she can't wait to see them all at her celebration of life party for her best friend who took her life. And then she goes on to add that her new friend Morgan Wade will be there as well because she's going to perform a song. Kyle is trying to soft launch this alleged relationship that she has with Morgan, in my opinion. Now, this short scene with Garcel at home with her boys, I don't have a whole lot to say about this other than I love the relationship that she has with her kids, and the lasagna that she had in the oven looked good. That's all I got. Now, the way Dorit pissed me off so bad in the last 2 episodes, I was tempted to skip past her scene, but I do want to talk about it. Because when we see Dorit and PK at home, their therapist comes over to discuss their marital issues and Dorit's PTSD. Remember that Dorit still is traumatized by the home invasion that happened 2 years ago. And I'm no expert, but it's feeling like Dorit and PK are on the rocks, because every time Dorit is talking about him in her confessional, she's always alluding to the fact that he's always away, he's not there, she feels like a single mom, and that she's tired of him not stepping up to the plate. So I feel like she's trying to tell us without telling us that she's ready for a divorce too. So they're sitting down with their therapist, and Dorit is sharing how she still has PTSD from what happened 2 years ago. And she goes on to add how she gets upset because she feels like PK is not grasping the severity of her trauma. So now she brings up their anniversary where PK surprised her. Remember how he wanted to do a Pretty Woman theme? He had a stylist sent to the hotel for her and food and a hotel suite book. And she was freaking out about, oh my gosh, where are the kids? I don't understand. Why did he do this? She was upset about the dresses that he picked out. And she pretty much didn't like it. She low-key shit on the whole entire night. So anyhow, she goes on to say that she tried to tell him how she felt that night, but he got defensive. So PK says, look, Dorit, there's not a husband out there who wouldn't have been upset. You pretty much told me to F off. That's what it felt like to me. And I said, Dorit, your feelings are valid, but PK's feelings are also valid as well. When somebody plans a romantic surprise for you, they want you to be appreciative and just say thank you. And yes, if you do have gripes about it, don't mention it in the moment. That's gonna ruin the whole entire vibe. And PK was really pissed that night because he's like, damn, I went all out. I had the stylist come. I have this room booked. I have this beautiful diamond necklace for her to wear, like a romantic candlelit dinner with the singer performing our favorite song. And she is upset because it was a surprise. So she can't be too shocked that he was upset at her reaction, because anybody would be. So PK goes on to say that he sometimes feels like Dorit is being obnoxious about this PTSD. And if I'm being really honest, I feel like PK is tired of her too. Especially when he said that Dorit has grown more and more high maintenance as the years have gone on. I said, I'm sure she has. Remember, you guys are on a show. She's now a celebrity. So I'm sure that she has an ego now. And on top of that, the whole premise of the show is keeping up and buying all these things and flexing. So there is going to be an element of being high maintenance on these shows. And I also feel like another layer to PK's irritation, before they were on the show, he probably feels like she spent less. And now with the show, he probably feels like she spends more. And now that they've had money problems, he's like, girl, you're spending like we still have money, and we don't. Now Dorit goes on to share that she sometimes feels like PK is very harsh with her. He's not as nice or as patient. And I say, yeah, because you're getting on his nerves. Now he doesn't give a damn because he's tired too. He's checked out. But they do make some progress in this therapy session. PK says that he does want to understand her. He just wants her to articulate herself better and in a calmer fashion. Now, we know that PK is very emotional. He starts crying. You have Dorit coming over to console him. And now Dorit says in her confessional that they can make this work if they want it to work. But if PK does not step up to the plate, then she doesn't know where their marriage will be. And I said, my point again, Dorit is letting us know that PK keeps coming up short and that if he does it again, she will be out the door. But there was a blind item going around on TikTok that Dorit and PK have allegedly been separated for about 8 or 9 months, and that she's allegedly seeing a billionaire on the side. I don't know how true that is, but if you guys do know anything, let me know in my DMs. Now, Dorit, if you end up divorcing PK, you do know that you're securing another 2 seasons on this show. Because one, we'll want to hear all the juicy details, and then the next season, we want to see you dating and having fun and being a girl about town, and then you and Kyle both single together at the same time. I can see it right now. So now it's the night of Kyle's celebration of life event for her best friend who just took her life, and Kyle shows up to the venue with Teddy and Morgan Wade. Now, when Teddy flashed on my screen, I immediately thought about BravoCon, and when Alexander Rogers got up to that mic and said, "Kyle, why do you insist on thrusting Teddy upon us?" Now, did anybody find it funny when Kyle was talking to her personal assistant because she was giving her the rundown of how the night's supposed to go? And Morgan Wade is rehearsing. So when Morgan starts singing, Kyle interrupts her assistant and she's like, "Wait, hold on. I need to hear her." So she walks over to hear Morgan Wade singing. And the way Kyle is looking at Morgan, you cannot tell me that they are not dating. And I'm so sorry, but you cannot convince me that Kyle is acting and is doing this for a storyline. One, Kyle is not that great of an actress. And two, you have to be really sick, like Monica Garcia from SLC, to do something like this where you would disrupt your whole family just to get a check. And I don't think that Kyle is that low down where she would make this fake storyline about breaking up her family, all to have a storyline and to stay on this show. So now Kyle is going over her speech. She's nervous, and Morgan comes over to sit next to her, and she's like, "Kyle, you're gonna do a good job. Just be calm. It's gonna be okay." And the way they were looking at each other, like I said, y'all, you cannot fake chemistry. Morgan and Kyle have real chemistry. I don't care what anybody says. There is something going on between them. You can't fake that kind of connection. So we see everybody arriving. Faye Resnick is there. Kim Richards. Garcel arrives. Dorit, Sutton, Crystal, Annemarie. The gang's all there. Now, Garcel had me screaming because when she bumped into Teddy, Teddy was like, "Hi, Garcel. How are you? It's me. I'm the Nat. I'm back." And Garcel was like, "Girl, really? You really want to refer to yourself as a Nat?" Now remember, Garcel did say that Teddy is annoying, just like a little gnat when she first joined the show. So I guess Teddy was trying to be funny, but I said, "Teddy, it's not funny." And I would never put myself down like that. There is no way in this lifetime or the next that I would be referring to myself as an annoying gnat. That's not happening. That self-deprecating humor has never been for me. That is not my ministry or my portion. I believe that words are powerful, and I refuse to speak anything bad about myself. So, yeah, I said, "Teddy, you need to stop all that." So all of Kyle's daughters are there. They join her on the red carpet, and we find out that Mauricio is not there because he's on a business trip. Now, let me just say this, Mauricio. Let me get on you quickly, because you know good and damn well that your wife needs you at a critical time. The fact that your wife just lost her best friend of 40 plus years and you can't even be considerate enough to show up for your wife, that was a slap in the face to not only Kyle, but also to Lorene. The fact that Mauricio couldn't even postpone a business trip to attend a very important ceremony for a good friend that you guys have just lost, that says a lot. And that low-key is a huge F you to Kyle and your family. That's not right at all. And I loved how Garcel even picked up on it. She said the fact that Mauricio isn't even here for his wife during her time of need, that says a whole lot. And you can tell that Kyle has checked out because she said, "Listen, the fact that he's not here, he's on a business trip. If this were a few years ago, I would have really needed him, but now I'm okay." I said, yeah, when a woman is done, there's no crying, there's no shouting or yelling, we're just done. And when Kyle went on to say that her daughters are her best friends and they help her out and she leans on them now. I said, yeah, she's letting us know that she's over Mauricio. She doesn't need him anymore. But I felt like that was a horrible look that Mauricio was not there. And I felt so bad because Lorene's mom, when she hugged Kyle, she was even asking where Mauricio was. And you could see that she was disappointed that he was on business. Because again, the fact that you couldn't even find some time to attend, that's a slap in the face. So while the event is going on, everybody's talking and mingling, and we see Garcel, Annemarie, and Crystal off to the side, and they're chatting. Now, everything started off fine until Annemarie completely messed up the vibe. Now, Annemarie, you are at a celebration of life service. Kyle's best friend of 40 years took her life. Now is not the time to try to start some petty drama between you and Sutton. You look like an idiot, and I had secondhand embarrassment watching you put your foot in your mouth, trying to drum up a moment. And I'm getting tired of you new girls coming on these shows, being desperate and doing these really cheap stunts just to have some camera time. It's tacky, it's embarrassing, and you look pathetic. Annemarie starts talking about Sutton's esophagus, and I loved how Garcel clocked her. She said, Annemarie, why do you care? So Annemarie's like, well, I'm in healthcare, that's why. And I said, again, this is not your place. Also, that was how many episodes ago? Let's move on. And you really put your foot in your mouth when you implied that she has an eating disorder. Now, why would you say that? Because Crystal is sitting right there, and we all know that Crystal has dealt with an eating disorder for a long time. Crystal was visibly offended. She was like, wait, like, hold up now, like, that's not cool. So now Annemarie straight up lies, and she says, that's not what I said, you said that. I was like, girl, are you okay? Did you have one too many drinks or shots at the bar? Because how did you forget what you just said? 2 minutes ago, you just implied that she has an eating disorder. Now that Crystal calls you out on it, now you want to lie and say, oh, I never said that? The way Annemarie is about to get ate up at this reunion, I can't wait. So it's some awkward tension, and now Garcel gets up to grab another drink. So we cut to Sutton and Dorit talking, and Sutton is sharing her story about how she also dealt with this. Remember that her father took his life. So she says that her dad has been gone for 20 years. And I have to say, I loved seeing Sutton so vulnerable. She was opening up, and it's just nice to see another side of these women. And I just felt like Sutton really was shining in this episode from beginning to end. But Sutton shares that her dad was 63 when he took his life. And I really got choked up because I lost my dad. It'll be 3 years in May. He lost his battle to cancer. But the fact that, you know, losing a parent, it always brings out the waterworks. So my eyes were welling up with tears as Sutton was sharing her story about her father. Now, mind you, while Sutton and Dorit are talking, we see Garcel come up to them, and she's like, hey guys, what's up? And she says, Sutton girl, Annemarie is coming for you. She's still talking about your esophagus. Now, here's where I got irritated. You have Dorit putting her foot in her mouth, and she's in her confessional saying, there goes Garcel, always striking the match and then walking away. First of all, sis, Garcel is simply trying to warn her friend that Annemarie is on some BS. How is that Garcel striking the match and walking away? It's clear that Dorit just does not see it for Garcel for whatever reason, because it seems like she always says the wrong thing when it comes to Garcel. I loved Sutton's response. She wasn't having it. She said, not tonight. It is not the time for all this drama. Does Annemarie know about my dad and how he took his own life? Like, I'm not here for this BS, so she better not start. I said, girl, I know that's right. Because Annemarie, I'm going to tell you right now, if you came to me with some BS during a time like this, you would be cursed all the way out. And that's how I know that a lot of you new girls on these shows are doing desperate things just to have some camera time because you don't have the good sense to know, let me not. This is not the time or the place for that. Because anybody with a brain would know better than to stir up some drama at somebody's celebration of life event about somebody who took their life. You shouldn't always be thinking about drama. It's time for Miss 8.5 to go. I'm sick of her. She brings nothing to this group. We don't even get good fashions from her because I don't know what she was wearing at this event. And I wasn't loving her outfit for her birthday either. Now, it was so funny because Kyle and Morgan were eating some fruit and they were eating it in a very sexual manner. And you have Dorit just staring at them and she's like, oh, that's how rumors get started. I said, Dorit... Dorit seems awfully pressed about Kyle and Morgan. So now it's time for Kyle to give her speech about her friend. And I have to say, Kyle did a beautiful job. There was not a dry eye in the house. You had Lorene's mom crying, her daughters were crying, Sutton was crying. And I love that moment when Garcel grabbed Sutton's hand to hold it. I was like, that's friendship. That's what I want to see. And when I tell y'all, I have my Kleenex right beside me. I was dabbing my eyes. I said, okay, I wasn't here for you guys making me cry. I was trying to have some fun at the end of this episode. But yeah, they got me because, y'all, the tears were coming down. But we see Kyle in her confessional saying that she still can't grasp how her friend isn't here. And she had spoken to her friend 2 days before, and she remembers Lorene telling her, appreciate your marriage. So she says that her friend being gone, she feels guilty for being in a rough patch with Mauricio. And I just said, that has to suck. One of the closest people to you is no longer here, and now your marriage is on the brink of a divorce. And I'm sure that her friend was her go-to person for everything. I'm sure her friend knew everything about her and Mauricio. So just knowing that you don't have anybody to talk to about this, that really has to suck. And despite how Kyle might get on my nerves, I really do feel for her, and my heart goes out to her and Lorene's family. But we end the episode with Morgan Wade performing, and Kyle says in her confessional that she doesn't want to have another wasted day, and she just wants to be around people who make her happy. And honestly speaking, I'm not surprised at all by the lifestyle changes because when there's a death of a loved one, this generally does happen where you reevaluate things and other people in your life and you're like, you know what? If this is not making me happy, then I'm not going to do it anymore. Because you really do realize how short life is. And it's like, yeah, I can't do this. So I completely understand why Kyle is just shifting her mindset. And she's like, you know what? I don't know if I want to stay married. I'm not happy with Mauricio. We're not on the same page. It's not working anymore. I'm not trying to argue with my sisters. I'm tired of being mistreated. Like, I'm done. And again, I get it. Another reason why I stand firm in my belief that her and Mauricio will probably get divorced by the end of this season. But y'all, that was my recap. That was the episode. And when I tell you that I cannot wait for next week, because we see Crystal and Annemarie get into it, and Crystal is like, you know what? It's my time to shine. Let me give y'all a moment. Because we see her cursing her out. I said, okay, Crystal. Crystal might save her spot for season 14, but we'll see. But y'all, again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. And you already know what to do. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all later. Bye.